So before I talk about the 5 anime I watched this week, let's talk about very quickly in my Inside the Box, which I guess I will be posted after this. I was talking about Elfen Lied and Rin Nemo's sign, daughter of Nemo's sign, and I don't pretend I pronounced that wrong. I was wondering why I didn't like Rin as much as Elfen Lied, considering I keep drawing parallels to them. And it occurred to me that the very thing I said in that video off the top of my head is probably exactly it. Elfen Lied is a juxtaposition of cute with horrific, oh shit, what the hell was that? I did not know bodies had that much blood. Whereas Rin really wasn't. So maybe it's as simple as that. Otherwise, let's continue and actually talk about the anime I watched this week. Since, like I said, there were 5 of them. I actually watched a better variety of stuff. For starters, I watched Naruto Shippuden Box Set 5. And I think it was already known that this stuff would be filler. But that said, I have to say it was more interesting filler than a lot of the stuff I've been watching. I guess because it was still so very much relevant to Naruto, and at the same time, relevant to Naruto, I guess. So it's more like the filler from the original Naruto before the halfway point, if there was filler like that in there in the first place. Which is to say, there were side stories, but our main character was still learning and developing, and they were coming up with ideas, and they actually had some neat ideas here. And as far as everything that's been happening, I actually find it to be more entertaining than the guy with the mouths on his hand who does stuff with the clay. I've heard that he was supposed to be really, really, really awesome in the manga, or it's also possible that he's just really, really, really awesome later. But the problem with him in the anime has just simply been that in the anime he's an excuse for them to go up to him and for him to say, well, I've still got people following me. I guess I will do another attack with little clay things. Oh, okay, that didn't stop them, but it slowed them down a little. And, that gets kind of boring if you do it more than once. And I think they did it something like 5 times or something. Anyways, that's basically all I have to say about Naruto Shippuden Box Set 5, because it didn't really complete the side story arc. I don't know how long it's going to last. But on the bright side, at least it's not late half of Naruto filler bad. I also watched One Piece Season 3 Part 4? Or was it Part 3? It was whichever one came out recently, like last week. It was pretty exciting. I know at the beginning of this season, it must be Season 3, I know it's, when it started, I had to wonder if it felt like it was falling into a predictable lull of they arrive at a new place, they uncover baddies there, and the encounter with the baddies, and this isn't going to feel as awesome or cool as I would think it would, but somehow One Piece always manages to weave its intricacies, weave its stories into something that's just like, wow, this was actually a really good season. So it's not, I don't think it's done yet. But I think a lot of the major stuff's covered. Oh, well. Anyways, I definitely really enjoyed watching that. Let's see. That's 2 down. Sacred Blacksmith. So I went into that one knowing its rating ahead of time. Like on AniDB, it's got a 5.5 or something, which suggested to me that it would actually be a lot worse than I thought it actually was. There were problems with it, but I thought for the most part, there were a lot of redeeming qualities to it that kind of make it an average okay anime. Basically, I mean, if there's any one thing I guess if there were 2 things I would focus on as the reason people might not like it. First of all, it actually suffers what I thought were similar problems to Shuffle, where the main characters have problems that kind of are harder to sympathize with. For me, that was the main problem with Shuffle. There were a couple of really neat parts, but it's like, oh, we've got this problem here and blah. Although in the case of Shuffle, that might have mostly only come in at the very, very end. I should rewatch that, I guess, and find out. In the case of the Sacred Blacksmith, that actually came in near the beginning, where, like, character who is the Sacred Blacksmith himself, he's just like this little asshole son of a bitch. Maybe he really doesn't know what he's doing, but there are better ways to do it than being a little asshole son of a bitch about it. And I know our main character, it got a little tiring of the big breast jokes because I wasn't really watching it for these subtle erotic undertones that were supposed to be through the entire thing. But they were tolerable because I kind of knew they would be there. When she started out, it seemed like they were trying to present her as being an awesome person that the anime was not doing a good job of presenting. But the thing is, she actually worked out, I thought, and is the reason why I can actually enjoy the anime, because she actually developed pretty well through the series. It's short, 12 or 13 episodes, I don't remember. So, there's definitely character flaws with them, which, their problems are a little harder to sympathize with, I think, than, like, the characters from Evangelion, who are all, like, very flawed people. I'm pretty sure Evangelion intentionally designed them that way. But you can kind of sympathize with a lot of what a lot of them are going through, even if they're, like, completely different personalities from what you go through. For example, Asuka and her, she's always loud, obnoxious, demanding, and talking about herself positively, but we kind of understand at some level that the reason she was that way in Evangelion was because she was kind of overcompensating for a lack of self-confidence, which is partially why she had so much trouble surpassing or staying ahead of Shinji in terms of what was going on, and he was all about learning to accept himself, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, that was my interpretation of that. And in Sacred Blacksmith, again, you could be an asshole about a situation all the time, and you just don't care about that person. It's like, fine, I know something bad happened to you in the past, but I don't care anymore. You're just being an asshole. Go away. That could probably drive people away from the anime. And sure, she's like, what, seriously? I appreciate you making sure we can't turn monsters back into people, but once you find out you can't, you should kill them to protect other people. You should have automatically known that. Otherwise, those are two stereotypes that, the other problem would be, I guess, if you really expected a good, I guess a less of a characters becoming better individuals ending, and you wanted here's a big thing happening, let's see a big action battle. Well, the problem is the main battle comes down to a bad guy who's like, I guess I'm going to kill you all, and it's like, oh, y'all are doing something? He lets them do it. He just sits there while they chat, and they talk, and they convince each other, and they actually do a little thing and set it up. A lot of bad guys, the writers can get away with that because, like, in Gurren Lagann, the entire idea of, we're going to let you try your hardest because then we're going to kick your fucking ass and show you never to do that again. That's just evil. That's thorough evil. But this guy was just like standing there after saying he was going to kill them all, and there was nothing they could do about it. And then he lets them do something about it. That could probably leave people with a pretty sour impression at the end of the anime. Otherwise, I guess it's also possible that there could have been a lot of backlash, because I'm assuming this anime came out with all the Moe blob stuff going on in Japan or something. I don't know. Anyways, that's been a long talk about the Sacred Blacksmith, but overall, I thought it wasn't as bad as the rating would have suggested to me it would be. Let's see. Fourth thing. Oh, yes. I watched the first 5 episodes of Durarara. Now, I was watching that with a friend, and he's not as much into mystery for the sake of mystery as I am, so we were only able to get 5 episodes in, and I'm probably going to have to branch off and watch it on my own, because I don't think he'll be interested in watching more. Basically, you can definitely tell it's from the same people who made Bakano, because it's a bit jumpy, and it feels unstructured in the same way, although it's not really unstructured, it's just intentionally designed to feel that way, where you're like jumping and jumping, jump. The only difference is that Bakano kind of starts with telling you how it ends, whereas Durarara does not appear to be doing that. And so the appeal to Durarara instead appears to be, here's some little mystery we've introduced, and as we get close to make a point where maybe that mystery is not seeming as interesting, oh, what the hell is that? That's another interesting thing. It's like, and you still want to know why a guy can throw around an entire vending machine and all that cool stuff. So, I'm 5 episodes in. It's definitely intriguing, and I'll have to watch more, and I'll come to an ultimate opinion on whether or not mystery was worth it if I watch it on and say, oh wow, that all really led to an interesting place. Now, the final thing I'm talking about, of course, is Pokemon. I finished Season 5, and it's too bad I couldn't finish Season 5 for last week's anime analysis, because it was actually very, very, that was the most interesting stuff in Season 5. You know, it's no surprise that would be the stuff at the very end of the series where Ash deals with stuff at, Pokemon League Championship stuff. So, I'm not going to talk too much about the details of there, other than, it was kind of touching to see, everybody have to split their own ways when Ash goes to Hoenn alone with just Pikachu. After that, since that covered everything that was released on the DVDs, that only meant there was 270 of 276 episodes watched. So I intentionally sought out and watched the other 6 episodes because I need to complete all of that stuff. This will be a series where even if I don't completely enjoy having spent all that time in it, I will at least enjoy it for the reason that I've been so thorough. So, there were a total of 6 episodes. 3 of them were dubbed. 2 of those are Psychic Sidekicks and Fortune Hunters. Those were just the last 2 episodes of Season 3. They never ended up on DVD. They weren't too important to leave. I don't think anything too world-changing happened in those. Beauty and the Beach is another well-known one because that's early in the first season. That's that episode was actually referenced a couple of times in a couple of future episodes, I think. But I watched the dub version, so I had the James Booby part edited out, which was too bad because I originally started the subtitled version, and then that entire video wasn't up. So it was interesting to see the subtle changes between the English and the Japanese dub. I have to say, I really do prefer Meowth's English dub, if only because his Japanese voice makes me want to strangle something. So, the other 3 episodes of Pokemon were never released dubbed here. They never aired dubbed, they never were released on DVD or VHS or whatnot. Although, I do believe dubs exist for at least one of them. So, the earliest of those is the legendary episode, Electric Soldier Porygon from the first season. Also known as AI Soldier Porygon, I think. That would be the episode that caused a ton of seizures in Japan, caused Pokemon to go off the air for a couple of weeks, and they restructured a couple of episodes, and they never, ever, ever made an episode with Porygon in it again. Even though, well, so the episode itself, the good news is that obviously I'm not epileptic, so I didn't have a seizure. Or maybe I could still have a seizure and still be doing this, but I'm okay. Nothing happened to me. Phew. I think there's a common clip floating around of Pikachu shooting his Thunderbolt at some missiles, and that causing the red and blue flashing that caused the seizures in Japan. Maybe that was it, but I think it was a little bit more than that. Every explosion in the computer realm flashed red and blue like that. It probably just all added up to one final intense seizure experience at that point. Content of the episode, that episode made me a little angry because I wanted that Nurse Joy to get a thorough beating for being such a... she almost killed them by trying to solve a problem that she was not equipped to solve, even though the person who was had been there and she could consult with him first. It's the only Nurse Joy that's done this to me. Oh well, that's just one. The other 2 episodes that I watched, there was a Dratini episode And that one was banned because a guy points the gun at the people. I remember reading about that. And the other episode that was banned, the final episode that was banned, was the Ice Cavern episode, because Jinx is the main Pokemon in there, and that was before they changed the color of Jinx to purple, so it looks like a black stereotype. Maybe it is supposed to be one, but it wasn't obviously one to me. It didn't look like it acted like a black stereotype, unless that's a Japanese black stereotype. So, I don't know. All I know is I got all those out of the way, watched all of Pokemon. Yay! Then I could continue on to Season 6. It's difficult to tell what I think about that so far. There's been a couple of neat parts, such as when Jessie actually caught her Seviper. I thought May was really funny the very first time I saw her. I guess because I wasn't expecting her to act that way, but her attitude has been kind of living on the edge of, I don't like this character. The reason I say she hasn't gone over it is because it looks like the reason they designed her that way is because then she actually gets to grow more as a person. And it does look like they're actually going that way, even here within Season 6. I'm almost done with the second DVD out of 6, so I haven't gone that far in, and it looks like it's not that bad. I'm still not sure about Max. He was a little shit when he showed up. And I don't know that he's done much to redeem himself yet. Oh well. So that's all of this week's anime. This is probably going to be a pretty long anime analysis, because I guess I just blabbered on and thought about a lot of stuff, didn't I? Oh well.